Hello and welcome to Super Rugby round, what is it, round 16? Yeah, round 16 preview brought to you by DrivingMaul. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul, your best place rugby predictions and opinion. So we kick off on Friday night with the Blues versus the Bulls. And first up, if you're going to be at Eden Park, come along and say hello. I will be in the West Stand if it's not raining. If it's raining, then we'll be probably hiding up somewhere at the top of the South Stand, to be honest. But come and say hello. I'll be at this game and doing live post-match reaction from the game as well. So check out YouTube/C/DrivingMaul for that. So anyway, actually it's this channel. That's what I'm talking about. Anyway, there you go. The /live is how you get the live ones whenever I'm going live. So do that. Blues versus Bulls. The Blues clearly the favourites in this one. Naming a side that's pretty much a full-strength side. No changes in the back line. So Nanai, Caleb Clark, Awani, with TJ Fiani, Marnonu, Harry Plummer and Ruru. Up front, just one change in the forwards where James Parsons comes back in after hooker. So he starts a hooker. So Hodgman, Parsons, Tongafasi on that front row, Tuipulotu, Scrafton in the engine room, and then Robinson, Gibson and Kiriawani in the Lucies. So yeah, strong side there for the Blues. Bit of a question mark as to where has Carl Tuanafakati disappeared to. Not seen him around for a while, so not sure what's going on there. They say illness, but that's all they've said so far. For the Bulls, we have again another pretty settled side. Still missing Pollard, which is obviously the key one. We see Van Ziel takes over from Andre Warner at scrum half, and Staden comes in on the flank, which means that Schumann moves to number 8 as Vermeulen misses out for this week. So, yeah, again, going to need a big game from Libok there in that number 10 jersey. See how he goes. Obviously, always with these Bulls sides, a strong forward pack. And also Speckman has been really dangerous out wide. So they'll be looking at making sure he does not get any space at all. Caleb Clark will be obviously in charge of that. Glent has also been pretty good from fullback as well. Interesting to see the Bulls say they need to have a quick start to this one. And that's not surprising. Looking at the stats for them, they generally do make good starts the first half. They've scored 9 of their tries in that first 20 minutes. But they've only scored 3 in the next 20 minutes before half-time. And that's going to be that second quarter of the game is going to be key for them. For the Blues generally are slow starters. Only 6 tries in that first quarter of the game. And they score more tries, 21 in the second half compared to 14 in the first half generally. So, yes, slow starters in the Blues, and expect them to ramp it up as they go through into the second half as well. The Bulls hold up pretty good in the second half, but it really is that quarter, that 20 minutes before half-time, where the Bulls tend to struggle. So it's going to be interesting to see who will come out on top there. The Bulls have only scored 29 tries this season. That is the third fewest. Only the Stormers and Sunwolves have scored less tries than they have. So don't expect a big try fest out of this one. I have gone for the home side. I've gone Blues by 5. Let's see. Let me know how you think that one will go. Then we have the Rebels versus the Waratahs. A lot of hype around this Rebels side, really around one jersey in particular, and that is Matt Tamua coming in at 12 in the 12 jersey. So it's Genia Cooper, and then Tamua with Reece Hodge outside him, and the back three of Corabetti, Maddox, and Dane Hellner-Petty. So I say a lot of hype around that Matt Tamura in that 12 jersey with him coming back. They've also got a new front row as well. So quite a bit of change for this Rebels side coming up against the Tars. And yeah, they've got to say this has got one of those sort of Wallabies selection kind of things written all over it. For the Waratahs, it's a much more settled side. Carmichael Hunt is the major omission. Got an injury last week, so he's replaced by Vaketti after who came off the bench last week. And then Curtis Rona also returns to the starting 15 in place of Cameron Clark as well. But a couple of just little hat tip to Tom Robinson, who will earn his 50th cap, Waratahs and Sunwolves cap in this game, and Jed Holloway can also get his 50th appearance if he comes off the bench. So a couple of landmarks looking at being passed there. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that Rebels side against a backline that it is Sean of Carmichael Hunter, who's been playing well in that 12 jersey. So Piketty is the guy who's going to have to come on and cope with Matt Tamua there. You got to say that even though the Rebels have not been looking so great of late, you got to say that Waratahs has been looking worse. So I'm looking at Rebels by 5 in that one. We then have the Sunwolves versus Brumbies. No news on the lineups for these two over in Japan. So it's the early game on Saturday. And the Brumbies have gotten this. This one's got all the kind of feeling of an ambush about it. The Brumbies have an awful away record. They've won 1 out of 7 all season. You'd think they're coming to this one pretty complacent, expecting a win against Sunwolves, who haven't won in a long time. So this one, you got to say, it does have ambush written all over it to me. But I'm still going with the Brumbies by 3. The Sunwolves have just been so poor since they basically announced that they were going to leave the competition. That seems to have knocked all of the stuffing out of them. Chiefs versus Crusaders then on Friday night, and that is over in Fiji. So even though it's a Chiefs home game, it's not in Hamilton. If you are in Hamilton, come down to the Sky Sports Bar where come down to Sky City for the Zone Sports Bar, where myself and Graham Minty-Meads will be hosting our watch party there. So come and join us and enjoy the game. I say no lineups for this one, but basically, let's be honest, this is an injured team versus the best team in the competition. Now, the Crusaders have stumbled recently. 2 draws in the last 4 games, not a convincing win over the Blues. Only that one good win over the Bulls over in the last 4 games. So, have the Chiefs learnt anything from those? I'm going Crusaders by 7, because it's really hard not to pick the Crusaders. They've only lost once all season, even if they're not at their best at the moment. And you've got to say the Chiefs are missing just so many key players. The Reds then host the Jaguares. 6 changes for the Reds in their starting 15 for this game, which is the Indigenous round. So look for some really nice jerseys out of the Australian sides over this weekend. So they've got a new front row. Karevi comes back in. Isaac Rodder drops out with the Rugby Australia workload management policy, as they say, and a whole bunch of other changes as well. So a much changed Reds side coming in to this one. Obviously, Karevi coming back is a massive boost for them. He is a lot of their go forward, especially in that in amongst the backs. But you do look at that side and go, there's Angus Blythe, Salakia, Lotto in the locks doesn't fill you with a lot of confidence. Higginbottom comes back on actually to start this week. He's been on the bench for the past couple of weeks. So I'm going to say you've got to wonder about this side. Jaguares been playing really well. Am I being too influenced by Jaguares' purple patch recently, where they've won 6 out of their last 7 games? I'm not sure, but I am back in Jaguares by 5 in this one. The Sharks then take on the Hurricanes, and again we've not got any lineups news for that game, or the Lions versus Storms that comes after it in the last 2. This is really the key game, key time for the Hurricanes. This is their South Africa tour now. Got these 2 games over there. This one, I think it's the Storms they've got next week. So 2 very big games for the Canes. They have been the clear second best side in this tournament. But people have had lots of question marks about them, especially recently after they lost to the Jaguares. And also, there are question marks about that pack up front, let's be honest. But the only other losses have been against the Crusaders. So perhaps people are being a tad harsh on them. The Sharks, look, they really, this has become must-win games because they're 3 points behind the Jaguares, who now top the Africa Conference and could get that home quarter-final. So I think the desperation of the Sharks here to win by 3. Finally, Lions versus Stormers. These 2 teams are at the bottom of that Africa Conference. I say no lineup news quite yet on this one. But again, this becomes a must-win game for both of these. The one that loses this is pretty much out of it, you'd think, as far as the playoffs are concerned. So it could have a bit of a final feel about it, a bit of a cagey affair maybe, even though, let's be honest, the Lions are not really good as a cagey side. Looking at some of the stats around the Lions, is that they want to get a lead and get out there in front because they've scored 20 tries in that first half, 15 in that third quarter, and that last quarter only 8 tries, and that's where they kind of sort of slope off at the end there. Stormers, on the other hand, really quiet in the first half, only 11 tries in the first half, 16 tries in the second half. That 27 total, that's the fewest tries in the competition along with Sunwolves. So again, they're going to be relying on their defence, whereas the Lions will be looking at trying to blitz them with the forwards. 43 tries so far this season for the Lions, putting them up in that top category. You've got to compare them sort of like the Rebels got 53 so far, 48 for the Hurricanes, Chiefs and Brumbies, and I've got missed out the Crusaders with 59. So they're in that sort of that top echelon of try-scoring teams, the Lions there. So you've got to say they'll be looking at blitzing them, while, as I say, on the flip side, the Storms will be looking at trying to constrict this game and make it as much of an arm wrestle as possible. I've gone for the home side in this one, Lions by 5. I'm always interested to know what your thoughts are about these games, so let me know down below. I say, if you're at the Blues versus the Bulls, or you're in Hamilton for the Blues versus the Bulls at Eden Park, come and say hello. I'll be in the West Stand, and if on Saturday you're in Hamilton, come down to the Zone Sports Bar to watch the Chiefs versus the Crusaders, and enjoy whatever rugby you watch this weekend, folks.